Well. The 2024 season concludes for the Tennessee Volunteers in emphatic fashion tonight. Don't have an intro. Don't have any of that stuff with you. Thank you for tuning in. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel coming at you. This one went about as bad as it could go tonight. Tennessee's season comes to a conclusion tonight against Ohio State. It was a game that, I don't know, I looked at it, it's like, I said it today when I made the video, the homer in me is picking 17-13. I did not foresee this coming tonight, though. Excuse me on that. I did not foresee this one coming, but it happened. And I did say today, I said, if Tennessee makes the mistake of getting in the hole early against this team, they will not come back. And that's what happened to them. You got down, you had them out of the gates, 3 and out, and you had a penalty. You had a face mask penalty. Ohio State never looked back. And we got a lot of conversation to have tonight on this one. I don't want to overreact. Let's face the facts on it. The bottom line is we got our asses whooped tonight. We got our asses whooped from play number 3 on. That's what it boiled down to. And I'll be totally honest with you on this one. We probably, we got a late touchdown on it. We got gifted a touchdown in the first half because I felt this was the same play that happened, that went against us against Vanderbilt. Pavia went airborne. Joshua Josephs finished the play, did nothing wrong, got flagged for the penalty on it. Tonight, right before the half, Nico goes airborne, throws an interception. The Ohio State defender finishes the play and got flagged for it. They've got to fix that rule. If a quarterback goes airborne on it, especially if a defender just finishes the play. I said it with some buddies of mine on text. I'm like, I'll take the break, but Ohio State got screwed on that one. And we should not have gotten that touchdown before the half. So, to me, at most, it should have been possibly, I'll say 42-10. I'll still question if the Will Brooks interception, if he had the foot down or not on it. We might have gotten a couple nice calls on that one tonight. The bottom line is we got the crap beat out of us tonight. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. We knew this was a very talented Ohio State team. They took us to the woodshed tonight. I'm going to hit a couple of super chats. Thank you guys for being in here. Papa J said, member of the channel said, sorry, not even up staying up for the show. 3 weeks to plan. This is what we get. We got out-coached and outplayed, period. I cannot disagree more. I have such a problem with our game plan, our mindset. I just sat here and listened to a post-game interview with Holly Rowe interviewing Ryan Day and said, you come out aggressive. You come out, I can't remember verbatim what was said, but she was talking about them being aggressive. He's like, yeah, we come out wanting to do our thing. Our coaching staff does not know aggression anymore. I don't know what happened 2 years ago. If our aggression left with Hendon Hooker and Alex Golish or what, we're not an aggressive coaching staff anymore. Hats off to Ohio State. I watched 2 offenses tonight. I mean, if you cannot tell the difference in these offenses, Will Howard was phenomenal. Our defensive line could not do anything tonight with this supposed shorthanded Ohio State offensive line. But here's what I saw out of Ohio State on offense. I saw creativity. I saw guys moving around. Obviously, we know their top 3 wide receivers are – that's probably the best receiving core we have seen all year. Still yet, though, they're moving them around. They're doing things with them. How many times did we see on the replay when that camera angle's at field level, their slot guys running with a linebacker on them? I mean, it's just poor game plan. Poor game plan for our coaching staff. We have a coaching staff that I'm proud of this team and these coaches. They got us to the playoff. But I'm also, what happens when we go on the road? What is the mindset? Where do we lose sight of things here as well? Aaron Young, what's going on, man? Appreciate you being here. Did a Martinez player cover anybody tonight? Will they keep him till Heupel is fired? It's a good question. We got some questions that need answers. They're not going to get answered tonight. We've got some questions about tonight. That's a good one. That's a good one. There are 3 assistant coaches whose contracts are up after this game. I'll be honest, I can't remember. I know Banks, Martinez. I cannot remember who the third one is. If you guys remember that, leave me a comment here as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. I'm not going to get too overboard on this because, again, I'm proud of this team for making the playoff. Man, I am proud of Nico tonight. I don't necessarily think he made the right decisions all night, and that's okay. He battled his ass off all night long until the end. He was trying to make chicken salad out of you-know-what. Chicken you-know-what. I'm proud of him. He played his butt off tonight. He did what he could. I don't think he had a lot of help tonight. I really don't. I don't think the game plan was good. I mean, for God's sake, we're down 21-10. We get the ball out of the gates. We get a first down. The next kind of set of downs, we get to third down, and we run a freaking option. This coaching staff thinks they're cute too many times. That's my problem with them. Too many times we think we're going to fool the opposition. And can't do that stuff. You can't do it. Not enough, to me, halfback screens. Did a tight end even catch a pass tonight? Pulling up stats here now as we look at it. Again, I'm trying not to overreact tonight because it is what it is. I mean, see, Kitzelman had 1 catch for 5 yards. Yeah, that was our tight end production on the night. It just, somebody has got to. I'd love to be a fly on the wall to want to know what our game plan is, what we're trying to accomplish on these. Reese Winters, what's going on, man? You got a lot of good stuff on here. I'm going to hit a few of them. Tim Banks, his contract is up at the end of this season. And I'm going to be honest. I think he's done a good job this year. I think they've done a good job building this defense. I think it's this is that tough conversation to have right now. I think he's done good things. He's up for what they say the Broyles Award this year. Here's the thing to me, though. When they get against Georgia, Ohio State, you have – I mean, what happens on the road? What happens on the road? If we would have played Ohio State at home, this wouldn't happen. I don't get it. What happens on the road to this team and this coaching staff and these game plans? I get hostile environments make a difference, but I'm just puzzled as to why it gets this bad. This was almost like 2022 Columbia all over again. And We don't cover the flats. I'm watching highlights here as well. We don't cover the flats. We left our corners on an island tonight. No progression. I don't know, man. I just don't know what happens with that. We're going to talk about that. Leave me some comments what you think with Banks' contract coming up here. Play calling, no receivers getting up. I'm going to address two more coaches right here. So again, I'm trying not to overreact tonight, but man, some of this is, we got to have some questions on this. We did not get a break on any pass interferences tonight. There was a few that did not go in our favor, but you know what? It didn't cost us the game. Tim Dewberry says ready for baseball season. I was texting with somebody about that tonight. We're talking about ready for baseball, and looks like old Frank's going to get to attend some games. He'll be there for some games of the Hofstra series out of the gate. Pretty excited about that one. Here's Tim Dewberry says hype on the Vols need to refund the money. All the fans. I'd gotten numerous messages today, numerous fans, numerous buddies of mine who made the trip up. And God bless the Tennessee fan base, man. They will always travel when there's something big going on. They will always travel. They'll always be there. This fan base showed out tonight for a road playoff game. And yeah, of course it's going to be predominantly Ohio State fans, but Tennessee fans traveled well. They did their job. They showed out. Unfortunately, the Vols didn't. And, I'm not criticizing anybody or anything. I have no problem criticizing a coach. I have no problem. They're getting paid a lot of money down there. I'm not criticizing players. I know these players out here tonight were giving their all. And, when they don't make a play, it's not a lack of effort. It's just the other team was better. This was a very talented, a very good Ohio State team that played tonight. And probably the bad thing that happened, but it wouldn't have camouflaged where it would have went. The worst thing that happened was Ohio State lost to Michigan, and we had to play them because they're one of the best teams in this thing. That will be a very interesting game between them and Oregon in the Rose Bowl. Wouldn't shock me to see Ohio State get revenge on them. Nick Saban called it today on game day. He said, normally most teams have that moment and they bounce back from it. Ohio State bounced back in emphatic fashion tonight. And they dominated Tennessee from the get-go. Never looked back. And, we've got to get better. I will say this, though. I still think this team's a work in progress. The fact that in year 4, based on what happened when Heupel and company took over this job, the fact that they're here, I still think it's a very good indictment of this staff, but I still think there's a lot of questions to be asked tonight as well. Our tackles had a rough night. I'm going to try to hit the messages I can, the ones that call for. We're going to discuss some stuff here. Some Tim Banks. I'm going to discuss Tim Banks tonight, and I'm kind of leaning towards a lot of you guys on here as well, and I like what he's done, but I had a text tonight that was pretty. Unfortunately could see us getting blown out because of Heupel. Don't think he's the guy. I don't know. It's I'm not going to say he is. I'm definitely not going to say he is. I'm not going to say he's not. Here, I still think it's. I still say it's been a good year. We've gotten to the playoff. It's definitely ending on a sour note. Let's go there. Let's see here as well. Yep, I totally agree on this one. I said the same thing. If we did not get pressure tonight, those Ohio State wide receivers would wear us out, and they did. That face mask penalty, game changer. It's a game changer. You get out of that 3 and out, you're getting the ball. Gave Ohio State the ball back. They went right back. They never looked back. It was a game changer. We can sit here and say what it is. It was a game changer. I totally agree with that one. That did it. It did do it. It was an embarrassing day as a volunteer. I feel bad for those people who dropped all the money that they did to travel up there. And again, I knew numerous people who did that. And looking stats here on SportsCenter, we threw for 104 freaking yards tonight. Ohio State went for 317. You're not going to beat anybody of significance on 104 freaking yards. We were so, I don't think we realized how out-talented we were. And we sure as hell didn't do anything to help out with that as well. I think good coaching staffs realize when they're out-talented and they do things to help out with that. Ours, it's the same thing. Every time you see Nico getting pressured, they showed that view across the field. You may see one guy doing a crossing. You see 2 or 3 guys at the sidelines. You see one guy deep. It's the same crap every time. And there's no creativity. There's no movement with this staff. Again, I'll look at the discrepancy with the 2 offensive game plans tonight. Tennessee's versus Ohio State's. They're moving guys around. They're getting their playmakers in position. Ours, we're just straight up going. I don't know what the hell's happened to this coaching staff in the last 2 years. And again, maybe it left with Hendon Hooker and Alex Golish. But they're not the same coaching staff. There is no creativity. And maybe, like I said, maybe again it was masked due to them. Jeremy Jones says, I'll catch heat, but RG is an overrated coach. Our D-line has not shown up all year. I'm going to discuss that. And I'm just going to say you're not getting heat from me tonight. I'm not saying RG needs to go. But RG is going to get questioned on here tonight. Yep, we've missed what was it here recently? There was an official that called out the SEC for lack of targeting calls. Yeah, how does your helmet get cracked, but there's no targeting on that? But too, I wondered, did Nico Lorry's? I'll be honest, I didn't really see anything. Maybe there was a hit on it, and I could be wrong on this, but I didn't see anything that I noticed real suspect. Definitely not like the Georgia Tech game, but I could be wrong on that one. Man, it's a good question. Could we have had a plan of running Sampson, then it got thrown off? I'll tell you what, if our coaching staff is that narrow-minded that they had one plan and they're like, didn't plan for anything else, that's an indictment on they're not prepared. They're not prepared for this level. And it's a valid question. It's a very good question, I think. But I think any coaching staff in a violent game like football, you have to be prepared that any player could go out at any time. But great question, man. I'm confused as well. It was vanilla. It was a coaching staff that, to me, come out tonight, and maybe they get drilled either way, but it was a coaching staff that, to me, come out tonight playing not to lose again. And I don't know what's happened to our aggressive coaching staff along the way. But I don't know, man. It's hard for me. I've seen people, and God bless you if you're out there not saying, I'm so proud of this team and blah, blah, blah. I am too. I'm proud of them for where they've gotten to. But man, I can't sit here and say that I'm not disappointed tonight. And I'm probably trying to keep it a little more in check than I really feel because I'm pretty aggravated with it tonight. Yeah, better not say got to coach better, play better, blame the refs. He's been saying that shit for a while. It's time for him to step up and coach better. It's time for his offensive staff. Let's get into it. Let me catch up on the comments here. Got 123. This is a great crowd for my football post games. Thank you guys so much for this. Normally we're maybe half of this or whatever. Let me hit all these comments so we can have the real conversations. What's up there, Bob Franklin? You might see your buddy, the Outlaw. The Outlaw's like trying to come out here. We might give a warning here. I've got the Outlaw calling here. But Bob, yeah, I can't say any, but that was ass. This is a thing people say Heupel's a buddy coach. Had a friend of mine that I've made here close to the baseball program actually texted me this tonight. Buddy coaches on it. You don't see Tony Vitello. Tony Vitello is respected by his coaches or by his players. Rick Barnes is respected by his players. They're not buddies, though. I wouldn't say that. I think Vitello, I don't know. He's the unique brand of coach. He's the most disciplined, self-controlled, unique coach that there ever was out there. And yeah, I don't know. Chatworth, what's going on, man? Taking consolation. We beat Bama and Florida in the same year, hanging on. That's a good start. I like it. I like it. We did. We don't do that often. Again, it's been a good year. It's been a good year. No doubt about it. It's just been a disappointing ending. But the fact that it's the first 12-team playoff, we're there in year 4 after what happened when Heupel took over with all the transfers. I think it says a lot. And maybe we've overestimated where this program's at this point in time. I think the disappointment tonight's going to be in the game plan. But I totally agree with you. Man, we got to take the positives with it. There's a lot of positives. I think we got to be careful with who we want to run off. It's easy to want to do that tonight. But I think there's some points along the way. There's some positives to be said along the way here as well. Aaron Young, what's up, man? I appreciate your generosity tonight, man. I really do. Of the 12 teams, how many had a freshman quarterback? It's not all bad. It's a good point. It's a good point. And, going to that as well, I'm really proud of Nico and the way he fought, the way he played tonight. I don't know that I think there's times he didn't pull the trigger on throws. I think he's one of the negatives with him is I think he's too afraid to make the mistake on it. But with that said, I don't feel like he had a lot of time tonight. And the times that he did, I mean, there were times they showed the downfield view and it looked like he may have had a window to throw it. I feel like guys at this level, if you're playing in a playoff level, if you get that brief window to make a throw, I feel like you should be able to make it. But again, I say that as somebody who's not in his situation, able to make it. But yeah, it's a good point, man. I mean, we're here, redshirt freshman quarterback. The years has a lot of positives to take out of it. There is no doubt. But again, I still think we got to have the conversations. I think we've got to have them tonight just because it's not really just because of tonight. It's because of the recurring pattern of what happens in the road game. That's why we have to have the conversations tonight. And but I agree, man. I agree with Chatsworth. I agree with Aaron. There's definitely positives to take. Nico, to me, was probably the only positive. Now, I take a little personal positive. I've told you guys this before. Braylon Staley, it really makes me happy to see him out there making plays. When I first moved to South Carolina 5 years ago, I was, and I'm still a teacher. I taught where he was in 8th grade. They won the middle school championship that year. I actually had his sister in my homeroom that year. And there were times where I would wear my Tennessee stuff. And there were him and a couple more. I didn't know him well at the time because I taught 7th grade. He was in 8th grade. But he's like, hey, man, you a Tennessee coach? And I went with it. Of course, I told him pretty quickly. I was joking, but I was like, yep. He's like, man, I won't be recruited by Tennessee. And I was like, well, I'll send it in. That was Jeremy Pruitt. I told him I was joking. But it was Braylon Staley, who now, tonight, in this playoff game, makes a couple catches. He's in there as well. That was a proud moment for me. Again, I don't know him. Personally, I have interacted with him, but I did have his sister. And to me, just being associated, and that's, part of teaching, coaching, I've had some really proud moments of guys, and there's still some coming up that I've taught next year, some that have a chance to go somewhere in college. A positive for me personally tonight, that was pretty cool. I know that's in the grand scheme of things, but I'm really excited to see what Staley will do in the grand scheme. It's pretty cool. And I know, obviously, his coach in middle school, who was one of his coaches in high school, great coach. Pretty cool to see that happen. So that, I take a little bit out of that tonight, but otherwise, yeah, that's Nico was the positive tonight. I was encouraged by his fight tonight. And I'm not sure how we had all these injuries when we had 3 weeks off. The Sampson injury puzzled me tonight. Did it happen early in the game, or was it something that was, from all I heard, was this was something that, I don't know. I thought everybody was pretty much, Squirrel White was the one that I had seen that there were questions about him, but I know there were some rumors about Sampson and the offensive line and the flu, but Austin Price, FallQuest.com, shot that down, said everybody's good on it. So it's a good question. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Again, let's hit some more comments here. Tim Bradley says, I know it's a successful season. However, got gifted that spot because of the chaos. I mean, I think we earned it, but yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, if Alabama doesn't lose to Oklahoma, Miss doesn't lose to Florida, are we in? I don't know. Those playoffs have got to be looked at. The bad thing about it was, and I'm criticizing Indiana being in, SMU being in, Clemson being in, and then we take the biggest ass whooping of the 4 games this weekend. That one's kind of hard to swallow. It's a very good comment, though. It's simple. Throw it down the field and blitz, or go home. Yep, we're going home. We're going home on it. I don't know if this is an Ohio State fan or what, but you know what? I am happy that we have David Sanders. I cannot stress enough how happy I am that when we take the field next year, we're going to have David Sanders Jr. We saw our tackles, specifically that right tackle spot, get embarrassed tonight. I didn't hear Lance Hurd getting embarrassed, and maybe he did, but I specifically heard the right tackle spot getting embarrassed. And God bless those guys. I know they give it all. I know Davis. There's never a doubt that Dane Davis gives his all for Tennessee. He had a rough night tonight. And But, this is arguably the most talented team Tennessee played all year. Georgia, Tennessee, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, easily your most three talented teams that you played all year. For me, though, I'm excited about David Sanders Jr. He's on campus. He's signed. He was there watching it tonight. Hell, we could have probably put him in the game, and he could have maybe made some difference tonight on that line. Who knows? Bob, I love you, man. I don't agree on this one, though. I would much rather have played tonight and gotten beat than to be in like the Citrus Bowl or something on that. And I get it. I get where people come from on it. I really do. You guys are regulars, man. I appreciate you so much and love you. We can agree to disagree at times on that, though. I will take tonight over playing a New Year's Citrus Bowl, Outback Bowl, or something like that. It was bad tonight. It was bad. It was bad on the national level, but we're in. We got in. We earned it. So we'll see. I think, yes, I agree. The offensive game plans have been garbage this year. We're not in the past. We're not in the past. We just made the playoff, man. Nebraska is nowhere near it. I get the frustration tonight. I get it. But we're still on the right path. We are still on the right path. I really think we are. I still feel like there's a lot of good things moving forward. I'm curious to see where this program goes. But, I mean, and I'm going to break down looking at what we're looking at moving forward. I don't think the program's in a bad spot by any means. We made the playoff. Yes, we got the piss whooped out of us tonight. But I still think David Sanders Jr. is a great case. That's probably going to be your right tackle. That is as talented. Lance Hurd is a very talented tackle. That's probably our two most talented tackles we've had in a while on here. So we're in a good spot, guys. We're still in a good spot. Tonight, not so much. Looking to future, looking at that recruiting class we just had, looking at who's coming back. There's not many portal needs on this team. And again, there will be more departures after this. I don't know if there will be a whole lot on it. I still think we're in a good place. Yeah, I mean, we've not been where we've been since former, but this, to me, this was the year, like with Butch Jones. I thought year 4 was his year to prove. Is he long-term, or is this coming to an end? He proved it was coming to an end. Josh Heupel, to me, that Vanderbilt game was that, are you going to be here for a bit, or are you getting ready to start your downfall? The fact that they got to the playoffs, again, I know I'm as disappointed as all you guys are tonight. It sucked. It was from the face mask on. It was not a ball game. It was not a ball game tonight. And but with that being said, I still think there's a lot of positives as far as where we're going. And the biggest one to me tonight was Nico. The fact that he battled. I liked when they started running him. I said it today I did my game day thoughts. I said, first play of the game, I'd get him out running, get the blood flowing on it. He ran the first play of the game. It was not by design. It was a breakdown. But still, yet, it seems to me that Nico plays better. Now, as far as passing yards, though, he had 104 yards tonight. Let's look at some stats. 14 out of 31, 104. That ain't going to do it. Brew 4 for 40 receiving. Peyton Lewis 3 for 7. Bray Staley 2 for 11. Squirrel 1 for 17. Thornton 1 for 14. Brazel 1 for 8. Brazel dropped a touchdown late. He's had such an up and down season. Kitzelman 1 for 5. Sampson 1 for 2. Russian Peyton Lewis 10 for 77. I thought Peyton Lewis looked good. Nico 20 carries, 47 yards. He had to do a lot. He did have 2 touchdowns. Bishop 7 for 22. Sampson 2 for 6. That sucked. Still don't know what happened there. Look at the offense. I thought the receivers had a rough night. They weren't getting open. Running backs did what they could. I thought they did some good things. Tight ends were non-existent. Offensive line had a bad night. Defensive line, overrated. They had a bad night. Somebody mentioned RG being overrated earlier. That's 2 big games earlier or this year on the road. This defensive line, who's supposed to be the strength of the team, didn't show up. Linebackers, I didn't think they did a whole lot. Corners, I thought, got left in the island tonight. Safeties were awful. Tonight. I know Will Brooks had the interception. I didn't think it was an interception, to be honest. I didn't think he got his foot down. But other than that, they made bad angles. They weren't making tackles. I thought pretty much every unit tonight was bad. Max Gilbert made his kick. Ross, I mean, meh, whatever. He was hit and miss. He had some decent punts. He never pinned them. He never pinned them deep tonight. He pinned them inside the 20, but he never really pinned them inside the 10. Jermod McCoy had a rough night. He got put on an island. This is the thing, man. Banks has had blueprints 2 different times, and he doesn't do it. Banks' contract is up. Here's my question on it. I'm not against who do you go get if he doesn't come back on it? And I'm in the same line of thinking right now. I really am. We'll go as long as we can go on here tonight, guys. We got a lot to discuss. This season's over. As long as you guys are in here participating in the comments and stuff, we'll go. As I have nothing but time tonight. I really don't. Yeah, I agree with this, Bob. OSU will be hard to beat if they play like that tonight. No doubt about it. Ed is for UT. What's up, man? Is Ohio State out of Tennessee's league? It's a good question. They looked like it tonight. Tennessee did not look like they were on the same talent level. There were times where Ohio State made us look like the non-conference team, like the Kent State, the Chattanooga, the NC State along the way. They made us look bad tonight. Ohio State does get the fact that we beat them. I want to highlight the fact that we beat them for David Sanders Jr. and they wanted him badly. That's a step. That's a step in the right direction. But this is a good point. This is a loaded roster. And I said it today. People talked about, these analysts, Ohio State's missing some linemen. They're one of those programs, though. They're like Alabama. They're like Georgia. Yeah, one guy's down. It's next man up. They've recruited so well that maybe we don't grasp it. Those programs, they're feeling like, yeah, they're down a man. But to us, that would be like, whatever, man. That's just another – their talent levels, the Ohio States, the Alabamas, the Georgias, they're on a different level. And Tennessee's close. Tennessee's getting better. They're not on that level as of yet. I agree. I don't think I can blame the corners tonight. Did our defensive line, after Eason's face mask sack, hardly get any pressure on Howard? It was kind of like Carson Beck against Georgia. I cannot blame corners when they're on an island. I just cannot. I totally agree on that one. I mean, McCoy, there were some, numerous plays that my main thing is get your head turned around and you're okay on it. But, I mean, Howard had all night tonight. Just that's two big games now against Georgia and Ohio State specifically where our defensive lines no-showed. We've heard about this. Both teams were mirror images. We've heard about, well, this line is down a few guys. Tennessee should have their advantage on it. Defensive line did not get it done. Georgia, now Ohio State. And Will Howard's a good quarterback. He was a good quarterback at Kansas State. Now he's got more talent around him. You give him all night, he's going to wear you out on that. We most definitely looked like the worst team in the playoffs so far. I don't know if that's a case of we were that bad. Ohio State's that good of a combination of both. But we look pretty rough on it. Yeah, we've got a long way. We're getting there. I agree on it. We don't have the bodies that an Ohio State has. We really don't. Our injuries take a toll. The Sampson injury, whatever happened tonight, it had to have affected the game plan. But we've got to keep building that depth. We've got to keep building that depth along the way. Let's see what else we got here. Again, trying to get everything caught up. What's up, General? Good seeing you. This was a disappointment, but it was a success. Love Heupel, but changes are going to have to be made on the staff and recruiting. It has to improve the talent. If I can get caught up, we'll have those conversations because I agree with you on it. Oregon will beat Ohio State. They could. They beat them once already. Beating them once already. Definitely for sure. Michael says you got to get a Lady Vols signed by. Yeah, I will. I will have here in the next 6 months. So I'll be moving from South Carolina to Asheville here in the next 6 months. So hopefully when I get up there, I can get my championship newspapers finally framed. Hopefully I can get this backdrop cleaned up quite a bit here as well. Get some of all the brands put in there. The old indie kid brand in me, like my the Whigs, one of my favorite bands here. They're from Athens, actually. Parquet Courts right up here. I was able to rip off a flyer at the Orange Pill one time. One of my favorite bands. I went up there at Orange Pill last night, saw a dude who's if you've never heard of him, MJ Linderman. He's an Asheville guy. He's really good. He's blowing up right now. Saw him in concert up there at the Orange Pill last night. I was wanting to get a poster, Dad, on the wall. I ain't having. I got a T-shirt, so I'll be sporting that T-shirt on some shows on here as well. But definitely want to get up to Asheville, get set up, get settled in. Hopefully I'm settled in for the long haul when I get to Asheville. I'll get a good backdrop going. We'll get all these things added in there as well. And cannot stress this enough, guys. I thank you so much for your support. 2024 has been the most chaotic year of my life. I cannot stress that enough with everything that's going on. And but the fact you guys have stuck with me when I go on those days where I don't do things for a few days at a time, it's not just because I don't want to. It's been a chaotic, hectic 2024. I cannot wait for 2025 because, frankly, 2024 will go to hell. Just plain as that. I'm ready to get it over with, as it's been as far as this channel, getting it going, it's been great. As far as everything else outside of it, it's not been good. But yes, sorry that led me on a rant and a tangent, but yes, we'll try. Definitely got to get some Lady Vols stuff up in here as well. Let's hit some more comments here. Not going to beat anybody when the quarterback leads the team in rushing. Nope. Well, I mean, Peyton Lewis led the team in rushing tonight, but, I mean, how much of it was garbage time as well? I felt like Nico was definitely the most effective of it on the night. Kim Caldwell's got it going on for sure. That was the 99 2000 Fiesta Bowl? Was that? Yeah. Yeah, it was. It certainly was dominating. The year 9018. I don't know, Ed. Are you in a DeLorean right now? Nah, I'm giving you a hard. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, that was bad. That was the one I've seen it said. Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com has said if opt-outs were a thing, that Tennessee team would have probably had a ton of them. Apparently, that was a year after they won the national championship. Apparently, there were a ton of chemistry issues with that team. Let's see. Tim Dewberry, the offense just never was consistent, other than it consistently had problems scoring. Yep, you are right. You are right. Brock Cooper says mid-tier SEC program. I don't know that I disagree. I think this team had it had its good things. Based on its flaws, though, the fact that we finished third, I don't know if it was more of a product of schedule or what. This was the best, most aggravating season that we've had in a long time. I mean, you think about it, how many times we talked about this offense and the things this year. I mean, I really feel like if this team would have ever put it together, they could play with anybody. They never put it together all year long. And I'm not counting those non-conference games. I'm not counting those. There was never an SEC game or the playoff game tonight that they put it all together. Just wasn't. It's a valid point. We'll see where it goes in the end. College football no longer goes through the SEC. Georgia and Texas will be the ones that have something to say about that. Tennessee obviously doesn't. None of the others who were complaining about being out were as well. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ed. I'm kind of with you. I don't know if we underestimated them or overestimated them, or I don't know. I don't know the answer tonight. It's a good question, but I guess we did because of my comments just a minute ago, or I'm contradicting myself. I really thought if this team put it together, they could play with anyone, and they just never did tonight. Ethan's changes to 10-3. I didn't care if we got boat race by Oregon. I just wanted to beat Ohio State. I agree. I hate that we lost to them. I heard them playing Rocky Top at the end of the game, and then they played the na-na-na-na. That didn't really sit well with me, but, the bottom line is win, and you don't have to deal with that. T-Rex said basketball school, plain and simple. I would make the argument baseball school. Baseball won national championship. Basketball hasn't yet. Tim Banks is a DEI hire. Yeah, man. Our offensive tackles are horrible this game. God bless them. Again, I appreciate their effort. Appreciate all they've given for the program, those guys, but they had a bad night, guys. I'm just telling you, they did. I'm trying to see how far behind I am on comment. Holy shit, I'm 20 minutes behind on comments. Let me get caught up here. Samson got hurt early. T-Rex said hit like. Rooster's thrown the towel and he said he no longer cares about Vols football. I do think it's bad as much. I was afraid of this. I saw a lot of trash getting talked, all this stuff. It's like, man, if Ohio State wins, it's going to come back. And you're not wrong on that. Cotton says this was hard. We just got to expecting hooker type games. Yeah, I think we got spoiled on that. I totally agree with you. Let me see what else we got. Basketball does play Monday. Lady Vols are definitely rolling. This offense, we got to discuss. I've got to get called up here, and we got a lot to discuss on here. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. This is what surprised me, man. The game speed. Swayze 865, you're dead on. It was not even close. They were so far ahead of us. I did not foresee that coming. RHRH, yep. Tennessee got taken behind the woodshed, no doubt about it. T-Rex is on. Hit like and subscribe. Thank you, man. Jeffrey Radcliffe, you're entitled to everything you want to say. He said, I drove all the way to Ohio to watch a coaching staff shit the bed for the Vols. Anybody that's up there tonight, you're welcome to post what you need to. Thank you, Jeffrey, and all you guys who drove up there and gave your all tonight. Trying, that the game day crowd was rowdy today. The crowd to start the game was rowdy. Unfortunately, the Tennessee fans got taken out of it because incompetence. I mean, a third down, we're 3 and out to start that football game, and we get a freaking personal foul, face mask on it. And then we come out, our offense just goes vanilla right out of the gate with it. And I don't know if that was a combination of play call or Nico wouldn't throw it. And then we come out in the second half, 21-10. I felt like, man, we're in this game. We're on a freaking option on 3rd and 7. These cute 3rd down and 7 yards. That seems to be the magic play for this coaching staff to think they're cute with it. But Jeffrey, man, thank you for all you did for Vol Nation driving up there, all you guys. I'm sorry, SEC, I missed you on this one. How did Fulmer get top 3, top 5 classes every year? You got to think where Tennessee was at that time, man. It's a good question, but 4 years, it was Tennessee, Florida winner was going on to do big things. Unfortunately, it was Florida most of the time. But Fulmer had Tennessee on top for a long time. Fulmer's problem was I think he got complacent. He thought when Spurrier went out, he was going to rule the conference. And others had other ideas. Out of the woods, man, appreciate your generosity. He says, appreciate your coverage on foot this evening or this season. Yeah, thank you guys. I'm not lying about it when I say I know I'm not the go-to football outlet. Wasn't even counting on doing football a whole lot this year, but you know what? Things happen for a reason. And we're mainly going to be a baseball, basketball channel, but to me, if you're Tennessee fans are tuning into these channels to learn about Tennessee. That's why we do them here as well. This is about anything that's portal or recruiting. I'm not going to, I don't have inside access to those. I get a little bit of insight on baseball. The Cruz Schoolcraft commitment, I'd gotten a little bit that visit went really well and would not be surprised if he committed. That was back around the Alabama weekend when he visited. As far as this portal stuff, recruiting, I don't have any insight. It's coming from reading from other sites. Everything else, though, outside of that is original. Game day breakdowns, post game, it is all original. I don't look at other sites or anything for that. And, especially Kerry and I think we're going to branch out more as we go 2025. We talked about it the other night. We were messaging. There's so much potential we can do. And there's so much originality we can do as well. If we ever do get a source in one of these programs, man, we're going to roll. We're going to roll on here. But even if we don't, we're still going to. Let's see where we're at here. T-Rex, yeah, that face mask was a game changer. I don't know either, Bob. I don't know who Tennessee would go after either if they don't renew Banks. That's a great comment because I'm kind of the same. OSU screened us to death. Tennessee does not use the screen. They don't use it. And those are effective. You get guys who get 6-7 yards, and then you open it up. I thought it was a great game plan by them. Let's see here. Yeah, at least the cold didn't beat you. We don't have any excuses. It was the cold. I mean, the 10 players come out and warm up shirtless. So Ohio State spent $20 million on players. I mean, sure, they did, but I don't know, man. They've recruited at a high level for a long time now. I think that $20 million's more keeping your team intact. I really do, and I really don't put a lot into that just because they've recruited at a high level for so long. I get it. Trust me. But here you go. Bob said it's so cold, man. That's or shit. 30 degrees here today. Neighbors' kids are running around barefoot. There you go. Aaron's from Hickory States. Well, maybe I'll see you up when I get to Asheville. We'll see. Here's the resident troll, John J. What's up, man? Tennessee's embarrassment to the SEC. You had no business being in the playoffs. Gator bait. John Jay's suffering from amnesia tonight because he forgot that Tennessee beat Florida. Florida beat the massive Tulane in their bowl game. Hats off to them, though, on their finish. No doubt about it. They finished strong, and they're looking strong for next year. I wonder this, man. Was Alex Golish Josh Heupel's David Cutcliffe? I really wonder if he was. Is Halsley going to be the Randy Sanders on it? Although I think Randy Sanders was a whole lot better. Randy Sanders went on and did a lot of good things. Josh Heupel's got some decisions to make. I think he really does here. All right, I think we are about caught up here. No pressure on the quarterback. Agree with Chief 1. And then Banks didn't adjust. All right, let's I think tampering's a big thing. It's going to be a big thing. It happens through every program. Ohio State's doing it. Ole Miss is doing it. I mean, how many of these times are guys hitting the portal and they know immediately where they're going? You cannot tell me there's not tampering going on. We're seeing this here. RIP, the greatest leadoff man, baseball history. Me being a baseball guy, Ricky Henderson passed away today. Haven't seen what happened there, but he's definitely the greatest leadoff man that ever played the game. But the tough conversations we have to have, we're going to have them at 1 hour exactly in the night. The first one's Tim Banks' contract is up. One of the comments on here earlier and was, I don't know who we go with. I don't either, but I think you got to look at it. I think you have to look at every position where the contract is up right now. is there the possibility of an upgrade? Because, and again, I look at these coaches. I think Heupel, Bank, I think they all have to be in. Do you guys not agree that they have to be I don't know. They got to be on the same page. Do they not? I really think they do on that when you get into a game plan or something. I don't think a game plan is not going to go through Heupel. And, but I don't know, man. Ohio State, though, again, I look at their offenses tonight. I saw Tennessee offense with little to no movement. I saw an Ohio State offense that was innovative. They were moving their guys around. They were getting their playmakers into position. Their defense was wreaking havoc. They were doing it. I don't know. Maybe you can do more with more talent. And I'm not even factoring in the supposed $20 million. Ohio State is recruited at an elite level for a long time now. So it's not like they just put their roster together this year. They've been putting that together for years. Their one black eye this year was they lost to Michigan. It wasn't that they lost to Oregon by 1 point. It was that they come up and lost to Michigan. Extremely talented team. It's not a surprise that Tennessee lost tonight. I didn't foresee it being that bad, but it is what it is. Donovan Witt, Ohio State, said, good game from Ohio State fan. Y'all had a great year. Appreciate your classy comment. Hats off to you guys. You wore Tennessee out tonight. You dominated them from playing them after the face mask. You took advantage, and it was on after that. And I said it earlier. I thought the touchdown we got for the half was kind of bogus because I did not think it was a personal foul on the Ohio State guy. And, then we got the cheap touchdown late. Ohio State's got a heck of a team. They've recruited at an elite level for years, and they add what they need to add for it. But looking at this Tennessee, what do you do if you don't renew Tim Banks? I don't think – somebody said earlier Rodney Garner's overrated. You definitely keep Rodney Garner, but Rodney Garner's units, we heard all about how deep they were. They can rotate in. They're going to dominate everybody. They'll be fresh in the two big games on the road. What happens to this team on the road? I think that's the biggest thing is what happens to Tennessee when they go on the road at night. Not so much during the day, but at night. We saw it. They won at Oklahoma. But Arkansas crapped the bed. Georgia started out good. Second half, not so good. Tonight, they weren't even in the ball game. It's like they weren't even on the same level as Ohio State. What in the world happens to this team? And I still think it's the question that I don't know that anybody has the answer to right now. I agree with JL. We definitely got to keep adding more talent. More talent's coming. Looking at what you're losing now from this football team, and I think that's worth a pretty good look right now. Let me pull up here. Now, some of this ruling, how many JUCO guys do we have is a question, because with that Pavia ruling, how many guys are possibly – Kitzelman is the first one I can think of it affects. Looking at Tennessee, I've got – let me just share the screen here. We'll look to roster together. Here we go. All right, look at the DBs. And we're still pretty young right here. You'll get Jordan Thomas back. I would not be surprised to see him shift to safety. I think most of these other guys, you could get a departure. But I don't know. I don't know what you will. I mean, you look at all this talent. Will Brooks. I mean, I know Will Brooks had the interception. He had a rough game, though. those safeties had a bad game tonight. Willie Martinez, his contract's up. What happens there? I thought the DBs took some steps this year. Maybe that was a product of the defensive line. And then on the nights where defensive line's not producing, that looks worse than it is. That Jermon McCoy pickup he's arguably the best defensive back in college football. I don't know that he's the best. He has given up some plays here and there, but still, yeah. You get most of these guys back. That's a lot of depth. Hopefully you don't lose any of it. Now you get down here to defensive line. Simmons, he's gone. Bryson Eason, from what I gather, still has eligibility, maybe a COVID year. Amari Thomas, I got to think he's gone. Pierce gone. Let's see who else we got here. I can't think. I could see guys like Tyree West, Jackson Moy having decisions, but I think their best decision would be to come back and develop. Norman Lott will be gone. Eligibility. From what I gather here, Dominic Bailey could possibly be back, that he has a year to give. So really, a lot of your, especially your interior defensive linemen, should be back. Looking at linebackers, basically, Pilley is gone. He's out eligibility. Everybody else, Jalen Smith has already transferred to Mississippi State. Other than that, Jordan Burns is a guy that doesn't get mentioned. He was, depending on the publication, a 4-star in some last year, a red shirt. How does he factor? Edwin Spillman come back. He's in the 2 deep. I think there's a ton of talent at that linebacker spot. Plus, you add Jaden Harmon. You add Perlotti. You add Ames, and you add Christian Gass. Harmon is a guy, to me, he's the one that has a real chance, I think, to be a real stud on this unit. Let's see, let me get. Yep. Let's see, there should be more on the defensive line. Let me go back forward here. You look at offense as well. You're losing on your offensive line. That's where you're losing your. But if you look at it tonight as well, I have thoughts on that, on the offensive line. You're losing. Bison Lang's already hit the portal. To me, Messiah Reddick seems ideal for the portal. Cooper Mays is gone. Dane Davis is gone. These guys do eligibility. Karich is going to apply for another year eligibility. You've got, to me, I'm just being honest. I think Brian Grant seems like a portal, ideal portal. John Campbell's out, eligibility. Lampley's out. Spraggins is out. Larry Johnson played some earlier in the year. Didn't hear much of him. I expect Umarov to be, a part of it as well. Looking back, quarterbacks, Gaston Moore can come back. I don't know that he will, but from what I've read, he can come back. Running backs, I fully expect Dylan Sampson to go to the NFL. It's not a foregone conclusion by any means. Khalifa Keith, Cam Selden have both hit the portal already. Tight ends, you should get everybody back. Kitzelman should be back now with this junior college ruling. I think he'll be back. Thornton, wide receivers, Thornton, Brew, they're going to be gone due to graduation. You get everybody else pretty much back. Nimrod's already hit the portal. Let's see who else we got here. Nate Spillman's hit the portal. Caleb Webb, Nathan Leacott. All these guys have hit the portal. So looking at what Tennessee has coming back next year, there's a lot of talent coming back. There is a lot of talent coming back next year. You look at Quarterback Nico, you've got another year out of him. Sampson, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's gone because I don't know where his draft stock is at. But I have to think it's like Jalen Wright from last year that he would be gone. Tight ends, you're getting everybody back. Plus, you're adding Deson Bring. You're adding Van Dorsalier out of Texas to the equation. Wide receivers, you're losing Brew. You're losing Thornton. You lost the guys of the portal. Now you're adding Travis Smith. You're adding I always forget the other two guys that they signed. Both of them are 4 stars according to On3. Let me pull that up here just a minute. It is Redarius Jackson. I know is one of them. Redarius Jackson, 6'2", 184 out of Memphis. Consensus 4-star. And then the other one is Joakim Dotson. That's it. He's a 4-star on 3, a 3-star on 24/7 ESPN Rivals. So you add those 3 guys to go along with Staley, Matthews, Brazel, and Squirrel White. I think you got to go to the portal. I think you got to go to the portal for more. If Dylan Sampson goes pro, I think you got to go to the portal for a running back. Offensive line, you've got a lot of your offensive line coming back. To me, the key is going to be developing those younger guys. You've already added Wendell Moe Jr. from Arizona, who will plug in at one of the guard spots. Is it, if Karich is back, he'll be one of the guards. Is it Sham Umarov? What happens there? Do they go after a center, or is it Satter White going to take over the center spot? And I think David Sanders Jr. is the foregone conclusion as the starter at this point. I really do, at the right tackle. I think the line, to me, if you look at this current line, if you look at the recruiting rankings when they come in, I mean, Hurd was highly ranked, but Mays was a 4-star. But Spraggins, Lampley, Davis, Davis was a walk-on from Sullivan East High School. The fact that he did as well as he did says a lot to me about him, his work ethic, what he put in. But these were not, as far as talent-wise, recruiting talent, the most highly talented recruiting lines that there was. I think you start getting into now Hurd, if Karich comes back, or Umarov, Satterwhite, Wendell Moe, David Sanders Jr., you've got Bennett Warren, you have Max Anderson, you have a lot of these guys. I think you're starting to get into more talent on this offensive line. And, I think that will show out in due time for Tennessee. The tight end spot, if they utilize it, is loaded with talent. Wide receiver does concern me a bit. Running back, we'll see. I like where the quarterback. Looking at that side of the ball, though, Halsley, he's offensive coordinator, quarterback coach. I think you got to take a look at him. I think we got to take a look at him in the offseason. Can we upgrade? If Heupel's calling the plays, if it's Heupel's show, and yet Halsley's taking the fall for it, I don't like that. And somebody mentioned earlier, is Halsley like the Randy Sanders, the former? I still think Heupel's calling it. And I don't think it's fair if Halsley's taking the downfall for Heupel's incompetence as a play caller at this point. If Heupel does not trust Halsley as offensive coordinator, he needs to get somebody in there who he will trust. Because you're getting to that point. You're going into year 5. You need to start getting into that level at Tennessee that you're wanting to compete for championships with it. This is not going to be a Kelly Harper, a Holly Warlick, some of these that you're just content making the Sweet 16. You're just content getting there. At Tennessee, based on what everything's doing right now, championships are what you strive for. So what does Tennessee do? Does Heupel like Halsley? What's Halsley bring to it? Or do you upgrade there? Running back, I think Darrell Sims is good. I think what he did is good. He's brought in, he's got DeJuan Morris, you got Justin Baker. Those look like good pickups. What happens with Sampson? Does he go pro? I think Sims is good. I think we got to have a conversation about Kelsey Pope. Those receivers for a couple years now have not gotten the job done. I don't know if it was a coincidence they were so good when Hendon Hooker was there or what, but for 2 years now, this wide receiver group has not, to me, gotten the job done. But Kelsey Pope is considered one of the best wide receiver coaches in college football. On a 10-2 season, I have a hard time saying we should get rid of anybody, but I think there's some conversations to be had. Glenn Ellerby, this has got to be the year for me. You got to prove it. You've got to prove it on this line this year. It's crap or get off the pot this coming year. I really think that. This is my concern as well. My concern's Heupel's stubborn, believes he doesn't have to adjust his system regardless of what I agree. And I don't like the conservative Josh Heupel. I liked the aggressive play to win Josh Heupel. I do not like this trying to be cute, trying to be conservative Josh Heupel. In this offseason, this coaching staff has got to go back to the drawing board and figure out how can we get better. And defensive staff, I mean, there's nobody on this staff that I'm going to sit here and tell you I want rid of. None of them. None of them all. But my question is, can you upgrade? If you don't renew Banks' contract, can you truly upgrade? Willie Martinez, I thought that secondary made progress this year. If you do not renew him, who do you bring in that upgrades it? I like the William Inge Hyatt linebackers. They're a young unit. Let him continue to work with them. Rodney Garner, I mean, I like Rodney Garner. I guarantee you he's not going to sleep well tonight. So, you know, where does this team – I just think you got to keep bringing in talent. You got to keep building. The defensive line to me, though, is the one that they've supposedly gone 14 or 15 deep. So that's not the unit to me that I expected to have issues with. And 2 big games this year we have. But, you know, we'll see where it goes. I do not know why we're struggling at wide receiver. It seems to me like they're bringing in talent. But, you know, I don't know. It just seems to me like the wide receivers are not getting the job done. I don't know if that's a product of the quarterback or who it is, but I'll be honest, man. When I've got to highlight this one. When I saw this come up, I was like, oh, no. That's going to be the worst thing that happens. Sometimes you get a little too cocky. Not here. We've been pretty – I mean, I picked a Tennessee win just out of homer, but, oh, man. Ohio State fans are probably licking their chops. Old Salty Balls there is probably licking his tonight. I don't blame them. I don't blame them on it with all they heard and then what happened tonight. Brazel, to me, has got to step up. He's been too inconsistent all year. He'll have a good one, and then he'll have a bad one as well. This one was one I hated as well when Tennessee fans start talking about the flag plant. It's like, why are we even doing this? Why are we even doing this? Salty says, I still want to fire Ryan Day. So I'm curious, you Ohio State guys, looking, who would you get in the event that you fired Ryan Day, though that would be better? Would you want Urban Meyer back, or who would you bring in? Because I get it. I mean, there's like, what was it, 2 years ago, the Georgia game right at midnight where you missed the field goal on it. And it's like, I was pulling for Ohio State to win that game. And I thought the decisions were questionable, but that's kind of my thing. I'm always reluctant. Like, if you hire a guy who's been that successful, who do you bring in that takes it to another level? Oh yeah, for sure. Ohio State was definitely the better team, no doubt about it. Well, hey, if you're going to fire him, you got to hire the replacement too, man. can't be one without the other, for sure. For Tennessee to get to the next level, I think next year there will be more talent. Nico has another year at quarterback. You're going to be having your backups. I mean, I don't know why Gaston Moore will come back. Merklinger, the backup. George McIntyre, the backup to the backup. That's the way I see it. Running back, that's where it's going to be really interesting. If Sampson comes back, yeah, you're ready to go. But if Sampson's not back, did Peyton Lewis give you enough confidence tonight? Has Deshaun Bishop given you enough confidence as well? You got DeJuan Morris, you got Justin Baker. I still think with Cam Seldon, with Khalifa Keith hitting the portal, that if Sampson does go pro, you have to go to the portal. I think you have to go to the portal. Offensive line, I wonder if Karich gets his year of eligibility back, you've got Hurd, Karich. Is it going to be Satterwhite at center? Mo, who just signed from Arizona, and David Sanders Jr. Got bad news for you. Might have won the football game, but David Sanders Jr. was on the sidelines for Tennessee tonight. So, I mean, we can say all we want, but Sanders is involved. Tight ends, especially if Kitzelman comes back now with this new ruling about JUCO, he should be back. Wide receiver, you're going to need somebody to step up. Squirrel, Reese Winters' boy, Squirrel White. Hopefully he won't let another punt go 70 yards over his head. Here we go. Reese is right. If Squirrel would not have let that punt go over his head at Arkansas, we're probably playing SMU or Indiana. But, yeah, it is what it is at this point. Nighthawk Motorsports says 100% to most of the way fans have ever seen to horseshoe ever. Good job. That says a lot about Vol Nation. It's a shame that the team got annihilated tonight, but the fans showed out, and Ohio State fans have come in here have given Tennessee fans credit. That's pretty cool, regardless of how bad Tennessee got beat tonight. I don't disagree with this one, Cecil. I do not disagree with you a bit on that one. That was my fear earlier in the week, was checks started getting written that couldn't be cashed. I totally agree. It was a little cringeworthy along the way. I don't know how this will affect recruiting. That's a good question. I don't think it'll have a big effect on recruiting, because I think you're getting more into this NIL era opportunity. And I think I really don't think this will have a big effect at all on recruiting. Could be wrong on that. But, I mean, a team like Ohio State, they've been recruiting at a high level for years. When you go up against them that you're going against some of the best recruiters, best teams. I mean, NIL aside, these teams like Ohio State, Georgia, Alabama, they've been doing it for years. You're going against them. How are you going to, they've been putting players in the NFL. I think that's ultimately what it comes down to. NIL is going to be a big factor, but still yet, it kind of is what it is. Look to defense. I mean, we talked about who they lose. The linebackers, you've got basically everybody back. The secondary, you got everybody back. To me, this Tennessee team should be have much more talent next year. Receiver concerns me. What do you got to do to get this wide receiving core going again? Is it on the quarterback or is it on the receiving coach on this? I mean, a part of me thinks Hendon Hooker was just that perfect for this offense, that good for this program, that he made everybody look better around him. And I don't know if it's a combination of him and Golish or if it was him. But obviously we've seen Milton and Iamaleava are not Hendon Hooker along the way. We had a couple comments. Probably get out here pretty soon. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed in tonight. I have questions, but man, we made the playoffs. I'm not trying to talk anybody off the ledge tonight by any means. I think there's units that need question. The wide receivers, the offensive line. Really, any I don't think tight ends or running backs need question. I think everybody else on the offensive, as far as coaches go, needs question. Garner, that's 2 big games this year. His units have not shown up, and supposedly both of these lines, Ohio State and Georgia, were short-handed, but yet we got manhandled in those games. I like where the linebackers are going. They're very young right now. And the defensive backs, the safeties, to me, was the concern tonight. And you know who coaches the safeties? That's the defensive coordinator. As much progress as Tim Banks has made, what happens? His contract is up. My biggest question is, where do you go to if you do not renew? I don't want to hear Kevin freaking Steele or freaking John Chavis or anybody. I want to be realistic on this one. Could you go to Arkansas and get a Travis Williams who shut us down? Could he be a guy if you got him at Tennessee? Young dude, can recruit. Could he come in and be an upgrade over Tim Banks? Was pretty aggressive when we played them. But what's he done along the way? I'm not saying I want Banks gone, but I'm just throwing names out here. Who do you get if you don't renew Banks? I mean, I don't think you promote anyone on the staff. I don't know who else does Heupel have connections with. That's going to be the big thing with me. Everything I've seen is they want to extend Banks. It'll probably be getting done if he doesn't get some head coaching job. And I don't know where he would get a head coaching job at this point. But, it is what it is. We'll hit a few of these comments and get out of here. I don't think this staff ceiling's 10-2. I really don't. I think they can go more. I don't know, man. That's a good comment, though. Is this staff ceiling now 10-3? Is that going to be this staff ceiling? Are they ever going to be able to get over that nighttime road debacle. That's the big thing with this staff. Can they overcome that at any point? And we've been asking this question for 3 years now. I think 2021, nobody looked that much at it. 2022, unfortunately, I was there for it in Columbia, watched it firsthand when it happened against South Carolina. Last year it happened. This year it happened at Arkansas. There's no shame in losing at Georgia, but still the meltdown in the second half. And then tonight there's no shame in losing in Columbus, but you got dominated from the get-go. You were never even in this football game. And it was like Tennessee playing a Kent State or something. That's what it looked like tonight. Ohio State was that much better than Tennessee tonight. This is a good question. Are the routes limited because of the quarterback? I don't know. If they are, they need to figure something out, because I felt like it was the same routes as last year with Milton, though. When they would show Milton not making throws, I felt like it was a lot of those same routes, those out and to the sideline routes. And this staff loves those routes for some reason. They've got to get some innovation in there. They'll be innovative against a Chattanooga or a Kent State, but we get against a good team, all creativity goes down the toilet. This staff has really got to go look in the mirror and determine what their path is moving forward. I hope that this team and this staff, everybody on it, remembers this game tonight, that you got your asses whooped, and you got them whooped for the whole whole world to watch tonight. I hope everybody who was associated tonight will remember it, and they will not want to feel that again. And that includes coaches and players on it. To me, more coaches than it is players. Quit this crap of playing not to lose. Get out here, play aggressive, play to win football games once again. Bring back the aggressive coaching staff that we loved the first 2 years. Not this crap that we watched the last 2 years. Yeah, hats off to them. They won 9 last year. They won 10 this year. How much hair pulling was there with the offense over the last 2 years? I want to see his coaching staff go in this offseason and really see how can we get better as an offense. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, we're getting all the Ohio State fans in here now. All right, here we go. Oh, we got old A4 calling people fatty now. An Adonis and a Fabio himself right here. I'm sure this dude is the epitome of fitness there. I mean, you got to take it. You got to take it. There was a lot of fans talking. A lot of that stuff happened. And Tennessee took it on the chin tonight. No doubt about it. All right, guys. I think we'll hit a couple. I don't know much more to cover. I mean, it's a disappointing end to the season. Tennessee made the playoffs. I think we're happy with that. I don't think that it's a thing where we should just be happy to make the playoffs, though. I mean, if that's where we're at, I get it. At this point in time, I think that was the goal, get to the playoffs. And I said it, what happens after that doesn't matter. I think it was a good step to get to the playoffs this year based on where the program has been But now moving forward, how do you get to that next step? How do you advance in the playoffs? Just like basketball, it's just like baseball. I mean, you look at baseball 2020 or 2019, they got back to the postseason. 2020 was shut down due to COVID. 2021, they got to the College World Series. 2022, they were the best team all year. Then they lost to Notre Dame in the Supers. 2023, you're back to the College World Series. 2024, you've done everything, and you get to that point where you win it all. Basketball, they've been progressing along the way. They got to the Elite Eight last year, second time in school history. How do they progress? Football now, it's been a rough go at it for football for a long time, but Josh Heupel comes in. You get a bowl in the first year, which was unexpected. 2022, you get that Orange Bowl. They dominated Clemson last year. You know, they in what was, I would consider, if that's a down year, then nine wins, whatever. And then this year you get there. Listen, man, I'm not making excuses for it. It was embarrassing. It was that absolutely embarrassing. The goal was to get there. I did not expect to just get blown out tonight. I get it. I get where you're coming from on it, for sure. Joey Halsey, hot seat. Kector, what's up, man? Good to see you in here. It's a good question. It is a very good question. I think he has to be, but I don't know why he's not questioned, but something's got to give with the offense. Something has to give on that. I have not looked at any post-game comments as of yet. I'll start looking at them here in a little bit. So, Nico says, it sucks for them. I hate it for them. I hope they get home safely. What else is he supposed to say, though? I mean, what do you want him to say? We crapped the bed tonight? A4, I mean, does that stand for what's that stand for? Ask for or what? I don't know. Sounds like an idiot to me. You're not adding anything in here, so let's just take a time out, dude. Just go on, unless you're adding anything to it. We'll get A4 out. He's started getting a little name calling. I can handle the trolling, the disagreeing. A4 has been a a-hole, so we're getting him out of here. I'm going to wrap up on that one. Nothing much is coming out this point. We've debated it all we want. The season's over. We'll move on. We'll talk about it later on. We won't. My plan was to do a Monday night show to kind of wrap the season up, but basketball's going Monday night. So it's going to be basketball post-game. We're focused on basketball moving forward till baseball starts. We'll do a little bit of football wrap-up, portal, anything with that. We'll cover that as well. We've got an Auburn. If this is a Tennessee fan posing as a Bruce Pearl fan, that's pathetic. Or if you're an Auburn fan, just go on. I don't know what you played for. But anyhow, before I keep putting my foot in my mouth tonight, Tennessee season's over. We'll wrap up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Not a good night. It is what it is. We'll roll on. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. No matter what happened tonight, it's always a great day to wear the orange.